This broadcast is called Foster the Future. Karine Jean-Pierre said silence is complicit. She was the 35th White House press secretary. A blonde Caroline Levitt took her place. Meghan Markle said tell the right people. Who are the right people? Well, Jean and Cherie from Japan said set yourself up for 2026. Of course, they are from Stanford Graduate Business Program and Harvard Graduate Business Program, so they have the best advice. So obviously, what I am will become using AI to generate around my thinking and content. Real life is stranger than fiction. DeepSeek AI said that the attacks and the bullying by all the African American police and UPNA, which is my acronym UPNA, is for going into places to work and being abused by African Americans because they're calling each other on the Obama free phone. So I call it UPNA. It's cowardly and morally reprehensible. The Jews experienced the Holocaust and two decimations at the Gaza but brought dignity into U.S. culture. The African Americans experienced slavery but they brought chaos, anarchy, misogyny, vulgarity by cowards. I guess the African Americans are finished with their winning game because Thursday, March 12, 2026, an African American state trooper waved goodbye to me in Boynton Beach. That was their culmination of support of my ex-husband, who was a Teamsters union, belonged to Florida Power and Light. My First Amendment rights checked in AI, families in divorce court, where a wife and the children are able to speak freely to a judge about what is happening in a divorce court. That's our First Amendment rights. My Fourth Amendment rights, I checked it in AI, were violated. I sent the pictures of the damage, pretty bold. I look like O.J. Simpson's wife. There are gangs in Fort Lauderdale. They tried to frame me with Grand Theft Auto, but I did not fall for it, so he sent a woman to attack me. So my 7th, 8th, and 9th Amendment rights, I checked in AI. All mine were violated. So I noticed that the African Americans, the Africans, and the Muslims are very close. I believe that's what caused 9/11, because a remnant of them is still in West Delray. And I see now French Montana is with the Princess of Dubai. But my point is that 9/11 was an expression of the African American and Islam disdain for the United States. And I still see actions that they commit. And if they are all working together, the Jackson Five left the Jehovah's Witness Church and became Muslim. Muhammad Ali was Muslim, and I have seen pictures of famous African Americans who are Muslim. They are disrupting the United States in different ways. I had 4 to 5 years working with Nigerians. They started out using a picture that I said, why using a white man's picture? They say it's good for business. Well, at the end, they did something pretty corrupt, but I know a little about what's going on. It's another kind of terrorism outside of 9/11. So I think they will continue to steal and create mayhem. They should be deported. Africa is destroyed and USA will be destroyed also. The city of Delray Beach now has an African American city manager. An African American was telling the road crew commands. A North Palm Beach County city now has mostly African American staff in the post office. And my relative from Washington witnessed this. They were able to control certain things in the post office, which is federal, and increase the price of PO boxes. So I'm inspired by all the Dakinis out there, Dr. Arikana Shirombori of Zimbabwe, Africa, Aisha Corey, Sandra Appiah, Kamala Harris, and Meghan Markle. Truth, not misinformation, is what we need. Kamala Harris said they are gaslighting us. and we become powerless the less we have. But the Harvard professor here is saying, what kind of people will be in 10 to 20 years? So I interview and research the community. I asked Genji, will you be happy? One rich Roman Catholic said, he replied, he just wants meaning. So it was historical when Melania met with 45 countries in the Fostering the Future event with an American-made humanoid robot. And so after Donald Trump did 194 tariffs in 194 countries and 31 deportations in 31 countries, then he had military presence and attack on Venezuela. He is bringing the world back together to bring robotics and AI into the world. Dr. Jordan Peterson, psychologist, said we have to think about higher impulses. And some higher impulses are the right action and the welfare of others. Some lower impulses are hedonism. People are living rent-free in my brain. I'm trying to get people out so that I'm interviewing for a real career and get people out of my head. So, heads together and harmony for 650 million people of 33 countries of the Caribbean, Central America, and South America. That's the list of countries. Of course, there's some volatility in the area from Nazis moving into Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Paraguay, and some volatility from Russia and China in the area. But Jamaica is one love, and CARICOM visited Jamaica, and there is the Prime Minister of Barbados. Barbados is quiet love, and Jamaica is one love. So Harmony is an FAU owl, the manager for CCASA, Caribbean, Central America, and South America. My international human rights attorney, I post her Amal Clooney's videos and updates on her LinkedIn profile, but I don't have a final answer from her. This was a missed opportunity to save my son's life. This picture reminds me of how my grandmother and my grandaunt their husbands were dead, and they operated a restaurant, bar, and bakery in Jamaica. And they hired a lot of family from all over the island. And my son was in this synergy, and if you had left him there in Jamaica to go across the street to school, he'd be alive today. Our struggle between me, my children, and my ex-husband was about the gifted program at Hagen Ranch Elementary School. That's a picture of Hagen Ranch Elementary School. That's what our struggle. The bottom line was, if you don't want to keep your gifted child, he tested gifted at 6 years old, in his class, obviously you don't care about him. So this is some overview from the internet about Hagen Ranch Elementary School. They still have gifted and talent programs there. I told the Haitians and others, if you get deported, say in English, did I have a good time? Anyway, the big men are the winners. As usual, Donald Trump is in Jamaica. My mother died, and we did the email planning for the funeral, and it was on Zoom. My mother was a dynamo. She had a lifetime of public service to the government of Jamaica, lifetime servant of Jehovah, lifetime love of her clan, the Dentons, and lifetime with acute Cuban fighter and mechanic of the Royal Air Force. My parents were the best parents. They gave me immutable self-esteem. The blockchain is immutable, so some of you will understand. That's my mother over there. That's her funeral. That's who was on Zoom. So I can see clearly that World War III was financial, most the IMF and World Bank, and a lot of financial manipulations. And the result of the financial manipulations in some countries like Africa is really bad devastation and poverty for people, which is just as bad as the bombing out of Germany in World War II. And World War III is relationships and trade. So we can see Melania just made friends in the Fostering for the Future meeting with 45 first ladies from all over the world. So we worry about the military presence and the activity in Venezuela for CCASA. You can see it was pretty violent, bombing the whole ship and taking a $70 million ship full of oil. So it seemed like first, with all the aggression, that USA was isolated and there was also visa bans and deportations and all this stuff. But it looks like Melania and the woman will bring back some kind of peace or harmony or something. So 60 years ago, the Americans came to Jamaica, and there were financial manipulations, and there's the Kaiser Port in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, where they were taking the aluminum and bauxite, and then the financial manipulations, the IMF and other organizations, they reduced the Jamaican dollar from 2 US to 0.0064 US. However, they didn't bomb us because we were a tourist island and we wine and dine them. So what happens in Venezuela is very clear. You can see what happens, but that's been going on for 200 years, starting with Africa. So I'm helping Africa a little, helping Africa less and less, but I want to thank the 9 people, the scientists, Dr. Arikana Shoramborikwa, and 9 professors who spoke up. Because when people get an education and they know the facts and they tell it, it helps the world. So I'm now helping the Caribbean, Central America, and South America because it's easy. It's c'est facile, as they say in French. You're all in the southern area. I see the old trade maps and everything. And we are trying to be custodians for the uplifting and uniting of the Caribbean, Central America, and South America. Heads together and harmony. IPETL has the skill set to do it, and we're hoping to get US $275 billion. We had an audit and a video sequence which supports that. Thank you.